want to thank you for being here. I want to thank all of the folks in our community, from the mobility community, for everything you do to help work with the city of Denver to advocate for this type of innovation that we are rolling out through our city. I want to say thank you to our leader of DOTI, Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, Eulois Cleckley, for hitting the ground running. Last year, probably early last year, mid last year, Director Cleckley and I had a conversation about our 125 miles of bike lanes, and we both mutually agreed in that meeting we need to expedite this. We need to move this forward. There's greater demand happening, and people want to see us begin to really make progress on this. So I want to thank him and his leadership over at DOTI for the great work that you're doing in helping us to do that. And let me thank Pete Van Huven for being here as well. She is just a tremendous partner with the city of Denver for her leadership and effort on this and so many of the other mobility efforts that we have going on. Listen, I know it's chilly out here, so I'm going to move forward. We have a reality that we just simply cannot continue to live with. 73% of the people in this city are driving in single occupied vehicles. Every day, the city of Denver grows by 23%, net 23% of people who are coming from our surrounding communities into our great city to work. It's a lot of cars on our road. And so the more commuters who we choose, who we can get to choose to get out of their cars and to use different modes of transportation and mobility, that's less congestion for the people who truly have no choice but to drive. Our mobility system is going to provide multiple ways to get around town for all people in ways that connect neighborhoods, provide access and not barriers, and create get people to unique places. Our streets are going to change the way we change to make a way for more transit in our city, including riders, bike riders, and pedestrians. And that's why we've committed to 125 new miles of bike lanes by 2023, or as quickly as we can get them out. Now, these are not just striped bike lanes that people are used to. The majority of the bike lanes you're going to see are going to be high comfort bike facilities around the city. We hope these will provide more safety for all modes of users on the streets, help to set the stage for future large area bike network build-outs, and significantly increase the number of Denver households within a quarter mile to a high comfort bikeway. This is what, you like that, huh? This is what equity in our transportation system looks like: more choice, more access, and a better experience for everyone who chooses to bike in our city. So we're not going to wait around. This is going to be a rapid build, as I pointed out. So residents are going to start seeing more neighborhood bikeways like the one right here in their neighborhood sooner rather than later. And I want to close with this. We have a shared responsibility to share the road, to be aware of our surroundings while driving and making sure that our commuters are safe, no matter what mode they choose to take. I've said this before, but I think it's worth saying again. Two things. One is, Vision Zero cannot be just a slogan. And we need to have everyone's commitment to obtain that goal. As we continue to see more fatalities on our roads, the reality is, as a mayor and as Director Cleckley or as members of City Council, we can stand up and talk about Vision Zero all day long. But if drivers and commuters on our roads don't take a commitment to say, I'm part of this solution, it will only be a slogan, and we can do better than that. And let me take a moment of personal executive privilege and say, the proposed bill in the legislature that creates a law that says only hands-free communication in our cars needs to pass this year. The moment we get these devices and minimize our distraction by our drivers, the safer we will all be. And so please join me in supporting that initiative. So what we're kicking off today is a big part of our push to make people's commute not only faster, but safer. And so here to fill in on what we're going to be doing with our bike lanes, I'm proud to bring up our excellent Executive Director of DOTI, Department of Transportation Infrastructure, Eulois Cleckley.
So good morning, and thank you, Mayor Hancock. We're excited to have a new plan in place to speed up the implementation of our city's bike program at a rate, quite frankly, that we've never seen before. So I'm definitely proud to be a part of an exciting and dynamic team at our newly minted Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. We have several people that represent our department well and are every day working hard to make sure our streets are safer and are set up in a fashion to move people in the most efficient way possible. And we have some of our staff over there. Can you guys give a shout out? So thank you for all the hard work that you do every single day. And I also want to thank the Denver Streets Partnership for their support. And in a few moments, I'll bring up Pete Van Huven, who will represent that group with some brief comments. We know our biking community has been looking forward to this project for quite some time on West 35th Avenue. And so what you'll see today is the fact that we're installing a bike facility known as a neighborhood bikeway. Neighborhood bikeways are local streets that we optimize for safety, convenience, and the comfort of people walking and riding bicycles in specific neighborhoods. Neighborhood bikeways are typically added to streets with lower speeds and traffic volumes that we design to make riding a bike much more comfortable option for all ages and abilities. And so some of the features of this neighborhood bikeway include the following. Roadway improvements that make speeding difficult and make the streets safer for everyone. Signage and pavement markings that designates the roadway as a neighborhood bikeway and helps people on bikes navigate where they need to go while reminding drivers that the road is shared. And some of the key particular features of this specific bikeway include the following intersections. And so at Julian, we're adding paint and bollards that will shorten crossing distances for pedestrians, making it safer for them to cross. At Loyal, we're adding green paint that provides places for people on bikes to position themselves ahead of cars to move safely across that intersection. And here at Irving, we're adding a median that diverts vehicle traffic on this corridor heading east while providing safe places for people on bikes to cross on foot. And so today you will see many of these improvements beginning to take shape. I would like to thank actually our contracted community, Silva Construction, who is the actual contractor on this project. We cannot do these projects without our internal staff, but also the consultant community. And as we move forward with this, having more opportunities actually for some of our small and minority-owned businesses, which Silva is one of them, are what you're expected to see from this department in the city moving forward. And so safer streets create safe lives. Safer streets also help promote life. And the street is really about making sure that people have the ability, regardless of the mode that they choose, to get around in a safe manner and to go to places of work or experience all the great amenities that the city has to offer. And so we're very excited as a department to move forward, and we're very excited that this is a project that's really kickstarting the new way that we're going to be delivering bike projects throughout the city and county of Denver for the next 5 years to help meet the mayor's demand on our department to have 125 miles of bike lanes to get done by 2023. So I appreciate everybody being here today, and I'd like to introduce Pete Van Huven, who is the policy director for Bicycle Colorado and a great supporter of our program in our department.
Good morning, everybody. Today's a great day for Denver. It is the start of an unprecedented rollout of infrastructure that will give everybody a safe piece of our roadway. And we're really, really honored and proud that our mayor and director Cleckley are stepping up to lead on this effort to create people-friendly streets. That's streets where everybody can get where they're trying to go safely. We want to really stop and take a moment right now to thank city staff. They have been working very hard behind the scenes to support this rollout, and what a great job they've done. Good job. So I just have a few quick comments, but the main thing we want to say today is just to put this in a national perspective. With this effort to build 125 miles of lanes by 2023, Denver is going to be one of the leading cities in the country building a connected bike network. So as we are building our 125 miles of lanes, you're going to see cities like New Orleans working to build 75 miles, and Austin building 75 or more miles, and New York is gunning for 250 miles. But right here on West 35th, what we get a chance to do is just to see what one of Denver's new safe streets will look like. And we also have a chance to think about how that impacts people. Some of them are here today. I want to point out Charlie, who's been riding 35th Avenue for many years. a couple times a week. He's excited to have a safer ride with this project. And I'd also like to point out Marilyn over there, who is really excited about just safer intersection crossings. She wants a better environment and a more livable neighborhood. And I'd like to point to Grace, who has at least one child and one more on the way, I could see. And she's excited that her family is going to grow up with a livable environment, a walkable and a bikeable neighborhood. And I'd also like to point out Will. Will and his daughter Kaya are so excited because they're going to get to bike to school safely just a couple blocks from here at Edison Elementary. So they know what so many Denverites know, and that's that safe streets save lives. And every street we design for people who walk and bike is a safer street for everybody. So I just want to close by thanking the city again for this tremendous effort, and by saying it's so exciting to be here at the start line. We are ready to get to work. Thanks a lot, Denver.
Thanks, Pete. Are we going to do some questions briefly?
Mr. Mayor, how would you respond to residents who are feeling that more bike lanes are increasing congestion around the city?
I don't know how that, and maybe Eulois can step in here with the more recent studies, but what we do know is that we not only are trying to balance moving people about the city, but we're also dealing with issues of sustainability and as well as health. And there's no greater chief responsibility that the government has than to promote safety and well-being of its residents. And so the reality of the more we encourage people to get out of their cars and to use different modes of transportation, principally bikes and walking, I think the healthier we all are, the safer we all are, but also the congestion, we can cut down on the congestion. And so we're working hard to create a good balance.
This is obviously a very ambitious plan. We know in the past the city has said that they're going to be building a lot of bike infrastructure that's going to work. Like how are you going to make this happen? How feasible this is realistically that you'll have this done by 2023?
Well, you know what? We don't pursue something that we believe what do you hope for if you can do it so easily? We know it's going to be a challenge. The reality is it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of coordination. It's going to take a lot of leadership from DOTI and the leadership of DOTI, as well as the people of Denver, the reality. Here, let's point this out. I've been mayor now for 8.5 years. The reality is that we're ushering in the bicycle revolution in Denver, Colorado. I grew up in the city. We didn't have bike lanes. We rode our little Huffies without bike lanes, protected or striped. And today we get a chance to see a city committing to creating comfort lanes for people to ride their bikes. And we think if people feel comfortable and safer riding their bikes, they're more likely to get on their bikes and ride them to work, to play, to school, to healthcare, wherever they're going. And so, Eulois, you may want to add something to that.
Sure. So the goal was set purposeful. It wasn't willy-nilly. It is associated with a plan that we've developed over the past year or so. And it's really about building out community networks. And so when you encourage and you close the gap of our bike network, it actually will increase the usage for people getting around on bike, which would actually help alleviate and mitigate some of the congestion that people think is occurring. And so we feel very confident that we're going to meet the goal. You have to understand, as we move forward with paving the city, our 5-year plan for building out our wastewater infrastructure, all these things that are kind of fundamental to what we do. We have leveraged the fact that we're going to be touching 40% of the city over the next 5 years to start to pre-plan in a more efficient manner to build out our bike network. And so, again, this was done purposeful. It wasn't just a target that just came out of nowhere. It was done with the proper planning and analysis, and we feel confident we're going to meet that goal.
How much was committed? People of Denver made a commitment. We've increased our general fund allocation, but $8 million from the Denver. Well, a couple things. We have $18 million from the 2017 Denver bond. Our CIP, our annual allotment, has increased over the past several years, so we're between $6 to $8 million per year. And so we have the funding allocation, we have the commitment from the bond program, and we have the dedicated staff to do it. So we really feel that we're ready to go with this.
And that the money from the elevated bond, that's going to pay from here on to 2023, or do you expect additional money that will be allocated to?
Well, I can tell you what the bond program is a 10-year program, so we're going to be programming that line item in the bond. We do have a multi-year commitment so far for our capital improvement program, and as we move forward in the future, we'll compete with everything else that the city prioritizes and make sure we have the proper funding to build out the remaining portions of our bike plan.
Let me remind everyone that almost half of that $900+ million of Elevate Denver bond money went toward mobility infrastructure. And so this is part of our overall commitment there. And so under the leadership of Director Cleckley and his team at DOTI, we feel good about where we are and the goals that we've set forth. How about one more question? Or not?
You said you support. Sorry, you said you support the bill that would ban cell phone use when driving. Would you ever consider providing testimony?
Yeah, I've been very clear. I've supported Senator. Her name just walked right out of my head. I'm turning to you. Oh my gosh.
Last year was presented by Senator Ford, but I know that she's.
Yeah, the hands-free bill. Anyway, I forgive me. Her name just walked. So yeah, Lois Court. Jeez, Louise, dear friend. And by the way, we're praying for her. Senator Lois Court. I've supported her bill. She and I have spent a lot of time talking about it, and cannot understand the pushback on it because a lot of the challenges we are having on our roads can be directly attributed, a lot of it anyway, to distracted driving. Thank you all very much. Stay warm.